Hi everyone, good morning. How are we doing? I hope we all slept well. Okay, so thank you for joining in. Drop me a hi if you're here. So, we are back to reading from the Radical book. What message does love consciousness have for us today? Okay, so let's align to love a little bit more. Okay, so message for today. Hmm. Okay, if you're avoiding listening to someone in your universe, you are probably avoiding the resultant possibility of a certain experience or set of experiences. Interestingly, all that you avoid or resist tends to persist. Listening does not mean you have to blindly comply. Listening does not mean that you are small or that others have authority over you. Listening involves actively recognizing others' opinions and feelings. At times, people just want you to know how they feel. Listening can cut short the unpleasantness. At, in the contrary, resistance to listening can prolong or worsen the experiences which you might want to avoid. It is the soul's choice of experiences which makes you listen to a person or a group of people. They are not only the ones who make you go through the unpleasant experience. Others or listening to others is not really your problem. However, your need for certain experiences has to be addressed so that it gets easier to listen to others in your universe. How about opening up to listen to them and eventually address the soul level brilliance in the experiences generated by listening to others? Surprisingly, this has come before. We need to listen to others. Love consciousness says that actively be open to listening. I'm going to continue reading a little longer. Unpleasantness creeps in when you feel forced to listen to certain communication. In order to avoid unpleasantness, we start avoiding the individuals in the relationship, and that complicates matters further. In order to regain and sustain harmony in your relationships, you need to disassociate unpleasantness from the communication. And you need to know that people are different from the experiences they are giving us. If need for the experience at soul level shifts, others in your environment tend to shift too. Rather than holding others responsible for unpleasantness and avoiding them or avoiding listening to them, it would be a good idea to be a neutral and detached listener. You are expected to listen actively and not necessarily comply with them. When you listen to them, you are making them feel recognized and acknowledged for their wisdom, care, and concern. Learn the art of actively listening to enhance your relationship dynamics. Remain open to listening to others in your universe. Disassociate listening with unpleasantness. Listen to what others have to say without judging, labeling, or allowing interference from your unhealthy associations based on the past. Okay. So, a lot of times we have beliefs associated with listening, that if we listen, then others have authority over us, or that they get the last word in, and then that means they are correct and we are wrong. Um, and a lot of times we avoid communication and confrontation altogether because there is so much unpleasant association with communication between two people. We feel that communications lead to fights. We feel that communication is not leading anywhere, actually. It's just the same thing we are going. We feel that when we communicate, we just don't understand each other. And so we Completely avoid listening or talking or communicating in relationships or in love. Well, today love is again telling us that be okay to actively listen. A lot of times it is not the other person that is our problem, though we kind of start having a bit of association with that person, that whenever I communicate with this person it leads to this, or whenever I'm listening to this person he or she makes me feel this. But that is the important key. What is he or she making you feel? That is our need for experience. Love is saying that it's not the person that is the problem, but our need for that particular experience that we are feeling when we are communicating or listening to that person. So, for instance, if someone's talking to you and that's making you feel small, or it's making you feel not good enough, then experience your need to feel not good enough in that relationship or overall in love. So many of us have associations that in love you can never feel good enough, and that makes you work towards being a better person. Then, for instance, the person's talking and that makes you feel that suffocated. Now it's your need to feel suffocated, it's your need to feel not liberated, it's your need to feel stuck, that the other person is giving you. It's not the other person. And when you really listen as to what the person is triggering in you, we understand the experience that we are feeling, rather than being quick to blame or being quick to jump that it's with this person, the communication is like this and I'm never going to do it. And then when you address that need for experience, the experience shifts, that we understand by now, right? And when that experience shifts, more likely than not, our equation with that person will either shift, the communication texture could change, or we feel that when we listen now, we are actually able to recognize what the other person's trying to say rather than us getting triggered in a personal manner. Yeah, I'm just going deeper in this because this has come before, and the fact that love is throwing this message to us again and again means somewhere the listening is really missing in love. Maybe we are also too quick to express and we don't want to listen. So, yeah, so let's maybe keep that in mind. And if there are some unpleasant associations coming with listening to you as you hear me, as you listen to me now, you can also put that in the chat box if there's any question or something, and I'll try and inculcate that in the recitation today. Yeah. All right. So let's begin. Taking a few deep breaths in and out, closing our eyes. Let's gather our energies. Breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. Breathe in love. Breathe in compassion and empathy. And breathe out fears, doubts, unpleasant associations, and beliefs. And then return to normal breathing. And in this space, connect to your higher consciousness. And see if you can even listen to your higher consciousness. Because it's not about just listening in a relationship, it's about listening to masters, to a higher consciousness, to the love consciousness as it's giving us these messages. Connect and align to the consciousness of love. And align to radical consciousness. And in this space, with either eyes open or closed, you can recite with me or after me. I solve my resistance to listen. I dissolve my resistance to listen. I resolve my resistance to listen. I co solve my resistance to listen. I supersolve my resistance to listen. I awaken active listening. I awaken the active listener in me. I solve my resistance to listen. I dissolve my resistance to listen. I resolve my resistance to listen. I co solve my resistance to listen. I supersolve my resistance to listen. I awaken acceptance of active listening. I awaken the active listener in me. I solve the reasons for the resistance to listen. I dissolve the reasons for the resistance to listen. I resolve the reasons for the resistance to listen. I co solve the reasons for resistance to listen. I supersolve the reasons for resistance to listen. I awaken reasons to accept active listening. I awaken reasons for the active listener in me. I solve the reasons for the resistance to listen. I dissolve the reasons for the resistance to listen. I resolve the reasons for the resistance to listen. I co solve the reasons for the resistance to listen. I supersolve the reasons for the resistance to listen. I awaken reasons for active listening. I awaken reasons for the active listener in me. I solve my unpleasant associations with listening. I dissolve my unpleasant associations with listening. I resolve my unpleasant associations with listening. I co solve my unpleasant associations with listening. I supersolve my unpleasant associations with listening. I awaken the truth. I awaken the truthful me. I solve my unpleasant associations with listening. I dissolve my unpleasant associations with listening. I resolve my unpleasant associations with listening. I co solve my unpleasant associations with listening. I supersolve my unpleasant associations with listening. I awaken the truth. I awaken the truthful me. I solve my inability to perceive through listening. I dissolve my inability to perceive through listening. I resolve my inability to perceive through listening. I co solve my inability to perceive through listening. I supersolve my inability to perceive through listening. I awaken neutral perception. I awaken the neutral perceiver in me. I solve my inability to perceive through listening. I dissolve my inability to perceive through listening. I resolve my inability to perceive through listening. I co solve my inability to perceive through listening. I supersolve my inability to perceive through listening. I awaken neutrally perceiving through listening. I awaken the neutral perceiver in me. I solve recognition in love. I dissolve recognition in love. I resolve recognition in love. I co-solve recognition in love. I supersolve recognition in love. I awaken recognition in love. I awaken the recognized me. I solve recognition in love. I dissolve recognition in love. I resolve recognition in love. I co-solve recognition in love. I supersolve recognition in love. I awaken recognition in love. I awaken the recognized me. I solve love. I dissolve love. I resolve love. I co-solve love. I supersolve love. I awaken love. I awaken me flowing with and through love. I solve love. I dissolve love. I resolve love. I co-solve love. I supersolve love. I awaken love. I awaken me flowing through and with love. I solve myself. I dissolve myself. I resolve myself. I co-solve myself. I super solve myself. I awaken myself. I awaken the awakened me. I solve myself. I dissolve myself. I resolve myself. I co-solve myself. I super solve myself. I awaken myself. I awaken the awakened me. And now I peacefully progress with active listening. I peacefully progress with active listening. I peacefully progress with active listening. Breathe in, breathe out. Start with actively listening to masters, to your higher consciousness. Know that it is safe to listen. When we do that, we open up to really listening to what the other person has to say. We understand, we perceive, we make them feel recognized. And when they feel recognized, they will have the space to recognize you as well. On that note, slowly start coming back. You open your eyes. I trust everyone is doing okay. Yes, have a wonderful day ahead. I will see you on Monday, 8:45 a.m. Yes, thank you for joining in. If you have any feedback, if you want me to address something particular, you can always drop me an email, WhatsApp. I'm available. Yeah, or just comment in the videos below. Yeah. Thank you. Take care. Bye. Have a good day.